Are we live? Yes,
Yeah,
we are live.
the recording
Well,
thing.
hello.
Hello.
I have a very, very special guest here today. Anya. Anya is one of my clients, and she has kindly agreed to talk about her experience in working with me and what has changed and how she's grown. And so I welcome Anya here today. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you so much. So, Anya, I've kind of, talked you through this a little bit on what's going to happen right now since we're going to record this. So before we get into this, do you want to give us a quick intro on how you support people?
Yeah, I help people launch. So anything from their businesses to their websites to an event or literally anything. Yeah, that's what I do.
Fantastic. I actually love that about you because I remember that when we had our very first conversation, it was a bit of like I help people launch, but do I? Like your imposter came out a lot, right? And it's just like, and then we listed out all of the things that you did in the past, and like you are a expert. Right? It's really weird. Usually I swear on my videos, but I kind of felt that that wasn't appropriate.
That's a longer one, yeah.
Was a longer one, right? So yeah, it's such an interesting topic, and I definitely love working on this with you. So yeah, so I would love to ask you, what in a few sentences, what did your situation look like before you start working with me?
It was rooted in a lot of confusion, and trying to like figure out what I was good at, because I was kind of good at a lot of things, like, but didn't really know how to give that to people. I was charging like as low as like $18 an hour for certain projects to like, you know, random numbers that someone would give to me, and I'd be like, okay, I'll work for that, like whatever you want, like I'll help you, because I always wanted to like help and be there for someone and support them, because everyone was a friend or a family member or someone that you should just help, right? Because you're taught to just help these people,
Mm-hmm.
without like doing anything for yourself.
Yep.
So a lot of it was like not knowing what I was like really good at and what I could support people with. um I went to school for physics, so I was also a little bit like, what the hell, like where's, and like even my mom had to keep reminding me that like, dude, like it's just means you're smart, like it just means you're capable. So that was a lot of like where I was beforehand. Just yeah, confusion, charging weird amounts of money, and didn't really know what I was doing.
Mm. And yeah, thanks for sharing that, by the way. And I also remember that was when you very, very first came to me with one of the freebies that I did, a free consultation. It wasn't even a fact of talking about you as a launch expert. You were just like, I want to do social media. And I remember saying, but do you?
Right.
Because there was that fear around.
Yeah. Right. Sitting and like making someone's post is not exactly what I want to be doing every day. Like, and I just didn't think about like what I wanted. I was just like, what am I doing right now?
I think, yeah. And I think that that's something a lot of people can relate to, especially when I have sales conversations with ladies who want to start working with me. They're in a very similar situation. So thanks for sharing this, right? Where you just like, well, I'm doing this right now, so this is where I should be going, but actually I really want to do this. And I mean, you've been absolutely fantastic in having the courage to actually go and get this far. But this is what I wanted to talk about today, because I think, for anyone who does feel like this, and for anyone who does worry that they're reaching too high for the stars, right? Which is a thing that was for you, it was actually, it's such a strength of yours that you are, what is it? Have you got a master or a bachelor or a doctorate? What is it that you have?
A bachelor. One day we'll go for doctorate, but.
Right? But I mean, you've got a Bachelor of Science, you're a musician, you've filled out Carnegie Hall for someone before you're doing social media. Like, you have such a plethora of talents that it was almost so hard for you to see where to apply them, right? And we just sort of streamlined this a little bit and was like, actually, you can apply all of them because you're just like, that's how talented you are. No, but it's true, right? And so thank you for sharing this. I really love that story. And actually, I think it's so cool that you have a Bachelor of Science in Physics. I think it's like, I'm so jealous because I've never studied myself. I don't like my brother has a degree, but I was one of these people who's just like, I don't know what to study. So I'm like, it sounds fantastic. As a bit of a nerd myself, as a video game nerd, I can appreciate this. So let's have a look. So this is what it looked like before we started working together. So when we did start working together, take us into the now. What has changed since then? So before you answer that question, Anya has started working with me in November, and that's sort of the timeline that we're working with right now. So go for it.
Wow. Okay. So first of all, there's so much. So I'm going to talk for a long time here. Just from like a clarity perspective, I was kind of like, and still am like constantly craving clarity, right? But I think one of the like best things you did for my business and for my emotions was like showing me the unifying factors of everything that I'm doing. Like, so my physics degree, I'm good at studying, I'm good at preparing, I'm good at preparing for the launch of doing a test, right? Of taking a test, like figuring out what the teacher is going to want, like, and I used to be a tutor. So like I have that as well. Like I've gone through teaching people how to lead up to something big like that. And then again, yeah, like hosting the event at Carnegie Hall, which I was hired as like an administrative assistant for. So I never thought of myself as a launch manager or a launch coach for a launch strategist, right? Mm-hmm. Like it was more just here, do stuff. And I took initiative and did a lot more stuff than I probably was expected to do. And with my music, having put out like an EP and a single and putting out more and organizing shows for myself, like that's all part of basically like the logistics and the strategic end of like doing launches for clients. And then when like my mom would ask me for like, how do I do this for my business? Or someone else would ask me like, how do I do this for my business? They're all asking me about that kind of that same unifying thing. So for me, that was a huge turning point of like, what you're doing isn't random. It all does tie into something that you're good at. And it might tie into more things later, but right now it does make sense. Like you're not in a place of being unsure, or you shouldn't be, right? I am now, I now have prices. I now have like real packages that I'm like sticking to my guns with and not doing, discounts for fun. I just like will readjust if someone can't afford something more, like I'll figure out how we can work together without like making too many compromises on either end. So I've sold 5 VIP days now at $500. And I have, on top of that, 10 new leads that I'm talking to. And so my 2020 is going to be stacked. And I also feel like I wasn't a very good like sales call person before. Or maybe I don't know, but before, who cares about before? Now, since I work with Adina, I feel like I'm just more confident and able to like send someone an email asking them to, like we were talking about before, I can now email someone and say, let's do a follow-up on this date. Whereas before that terrified me for absolutely no reason. Like you said, like your client wants to feel like they're taken care of. Mm-hmm. So why not reach out to them? And I don't know. And in my head, it was like asking for money from them before, mm-hmm. like, and now it's, I'm here to help you. And that has nothing to do with money. Mm-hmm. Or it will have something to do with money, but that email does not have anything to do with money. That email is, are you doing okay? Are you okay? How can I support you?
I love that.
Yeah. As far as like during our session, the visualization that you did was like one of the craziest things. Like, and I like went to yoga school when I was in high school. I like worked it was funny. I worked at like a juice bar and my entire paycheck went to my yoga school because like there were all these like adults like paying like real money for it. And I was like, I don't care, like give it to me. Which goes to show you that you will find a way to pay for the thing that you want, right?
Right.
paid like $2,000 as a high schooler to do that, and I didn't have that money for sure. I worked my butt off. But I have not been a very like meditative person since then. Like being in college, like being, you know, I don't know, you just get pulled out of mindfulness a little bit. Like
into the day to day, you don't really, right? Because everything's really fast, and so you have to take time for it.
Yeah, and so no one, like I hadn't been walked through visualization like this before, and so it's the future self visualization, and that was like it was so funny how clear it was, because I'm very like open to these things and breath work and everything, but like usually it just doesn't work, and I'm like, okay, like that was nice, I tried. And this was like the second you were like, open this door, see yourself, I was like, oh my god, like I'm standing right there, that's insane. Because I think my biggest disconnect was always like, I know exactly where I want to be, I have no idea how to get there, and that's a different person. Like that's not me. Like that's someone that lives 20 years from now and is fabulous and wonderful, but like it's not me. And so like you teaching me how to start being that person and walking into every day being like, yeah, that's me. And even if you fall off of it, like that's okay, but it's actively working towards being the you that you envision for yourself. And that for me was like super, super powerful.
I'm so glad to hear it. And you know what, if we look at it, so for anyone who doesn't understand it, the future self visualization is one of the tools that I use. Absolutely fine. It's one of the tools that I use to help my clients really get clarity on what it is that they need to do, right? Because everyone is a different person, everyone wants a different thing. And because I'm not a fan of a blueprint, because I think if a blueprint would work, everyone would do it and be successful. And so one of these things is this visualization, right? And so if we look at the visualization and where you are now versus where you are back then, look how close you've gotten already to that picture.
Yeah. Just like even the way that I like act or walk around, like it's just different. And I'll always fall back into, or maybe not always, I will fall back into it from time to time, but I then like kind of kick myself and I'm like, what are you doing? Like, we've gone over this. Yeah.
I love it. No, thanks for sharing that, for sure. And I mean, I love your success. And the beautiful thing is, I mean, there's still more to come. It's not even the end of the year. You've got like 10 more leads lined up, and that's just like a little bit of what is still to come. You've got all of your 5 VIP days that you've started offering. I mean, that's fantastic. None of this was there at the beginning of when we started working together. And I mean, like what, it's been just a little over a month.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And the crazy part is that I still haven't posted on my business Instagram account. Like, and I've somehow, which was for me such a big like blocker. Like I think I told you from day one, I was like, I'm struggling with my copy, and you're like, are you really? Like, I don't think you are. Like it was because that like posting for me was like a validating thing, and I've found people through other channels that have been better for me, which is funny because I literally run Instagram accounts for so many people, and it just clicks for me to how to like do stuff for them, but not for myself. And I will do it. I'm gonna like 2020 is coming, but it like was a good realization that wasn't what was stopping me. Like I was letting that be the thing that was stopping me to like, oh, I can't write this, or I can't post it, so I can't make money until I do that, right? But I've made money regardless, like through other ways, through like contacting people for referrals or reaching out to, you know, someone that's in my sphere already, like that I know that when I finally do go out kind of like on a more public platform, like it can only go up from there. Like
exactly.
It will just amplify.
Right. Oh, that's beautiful. I love it. And you know what? The thing is, and let me know if you're okay with this. I remember our conversation when you were saying this, when you were just like, oh, I'm on this copy and I'm stuck in it. And I remember that. I'm like, what are you though? And it's really more about done is better than perfect, right? Because we have so many polished. And as someone who runs Instagram accounts or social media accounts for a lot of other people, right, not only is it easier to always do it for someone else, like swallowing your own medicine is always better, but also it's because you're doing it perfect for everyone else. And the same is true for me, right? When I'm coaching and I have a coach, it's always harder for yourself because you know what needs to be done. And so it's always like this, yeah, but it's not perfect yet. Right.
Yes.
But it's not about it being perfect. It's about get it out there. And I mean, even without any of these things so far, you've already signed off 5 clients, got 10 more in the go. I mean, like you said, the only way is up.
Yeah.
Right. Which is super fucking exciting. I mean, starting the year like this is
yeah,
I'd say acceptable.
And I think it's also where I felt like I needed to be. Like, I think like some of the fear might have come from that, where I was like, I kind of do like mentally need the time. Like, I do want to like kick off 2020 or do it like silly things, you know, like New Year's resolutions or whatever. Like, right, you could start them tomorrow. It doesn't matter. It's just a date, right? But like it sometimes helps. Like, it sometimes just makes it a little bit easier in your brain. And I guess whatever you can do to ease it a little bit is not the worst thing in the world.
Oh, I love it. Honestly, I always sound like a mama bear when I say this, but I'm so proud of what you've already done. It's ridiculous. So thank you so much for sharing this. So I would love to know, you know, seeing as when you first started talking with me and when you first sort of considered working with me, what sort of fears went through your head when you were just like, I want to work with Adina, but
so I think what's funny is that the I want to work with blank, but for like, so for me, the way that I like, this is the way my brain is processing this right now. The way that I would assume that people would be like something that holds them back is financial. And that, by the way, was never something that came across my mind with you. Like, I felt like it was such the right decision to work with you that the money never crossed my mind. Like, I was like, it was the yoga school thing. It was like, I'm going to make this shit happen because I know this is what I need. Like, this is exactly what I need. But so the blockers that did come, I don't even like, is it bad that, no, I don't think I did, but it was more just like, I don't feel like I'm like ready, or, you know, I feel like I need to be established a little bit more. And I think you kind of like squashed that fear in me because you were like, but this is what you like, you're not going to get anywhere, but it's like, this is going to get you from point A to point B and be able to start selling. Like, if I hadn't started working with you, I would be waiting forever to get my first VIP day, right? Like, I would get one every once in a while. I wouldn't even know what a VIP day was. Like, whatever, you know, I wouldn't have the same structure, and I would just kind of be rolling towards burnout if I hadn't started working with you. So I think there really wasn't a lot of blockers, especially because I felt so supported. I think we maybe had like 2 calls, but that's because it was part of like it was one of the first one was a freebie. Yeah. So I don't even think it took much. I think I knew that it was right, and then like I wasn't getting anywhere unless I worked with you.
But you know what, you were hesitating a little bit when you were just like, I don't know if I can say this, but it does happen to a lot of people, also the ladies that I speak to. But I know this was also true for me when I'm like, yeah, but am I even big enough? Am I even far ahead enough to be able to work with this person, right? Because I know for myself, I was looking when I started out, I'm just like, right, I'm in a salary, I can afford higher paying, like higher end people, but I'm like, yeah, but am I just too much of like a noob for them? Right. So that is a very valid fear to have, because ultimately it could stop you if you hadn't taken the step to go ahead. It could really stop you growing. So I think that's a really important thing to say. It doesn't always have to be finances. It can be the feeling of, for lack of a better word, inferior feeling inferior can sometimes be like this. But I think, you know, it's more common than we let on.
Yeah. I've seen it with people that want to work with me, that like, they're like, oh, I want to, you know, I have money, or I have a salary somewhere else, but I want to make money in this field. I want to make money in this business first. And like, you coach me through being like, well, that's just fear, right? Like, that's not, like, if they have the money, then that's not a problem. Like, then we're not, and also we shouldn't just, you know, that's not our job to decide whether they have the money or not. Like, but instead approaching it from like, okay, well, I can help you get to that first thing. And does that sound like something you want? Instead of, I don't know, instead of just like, oh, okay, like, see you later. Like, you can't, you're too afraid. Like, sounds good. Because if people came to you like with full confidence, like, and weren't afraid of something, like, why would they come to you? Like, they're coming to you because they have fears that are there and that are real. And like, I don't think of myself as a very scared person, but apparently I'm a very scared person, like, which is something that I realized. There's like that I had a lot of fears that were there. Yeah.
You had fears that everyone has, right? Because ultimately they're a survival instinct. And so if you didn't have them, you'd probably be a lemming and, you know, just run in front of cars, think like, oh, the universe will save me. But of course, right, that's like survival instinct. And because we're no longer running away from T-Rexes, ultimately our brain is still trying to keep us alive. So it's not that you're a scared person, but it just makes you human.
Yeah.
Right. And that's something that, and you're very right. If there weren't some fears involved, or if people already knew how to do everything, no one would need to hire another service, right? Because that's ultimately what it is. It's the same when clients come to you and they want to launch something. They probably have very similar fears, right? Are they good enough? Are they big enough? Can they fill Carnegie Hall? Can they publish that EP? Can they, I don't know, launch that product? And it's with so many fears because it's so personal to us as well.
Yeah.
That, you know, it's great to know that when you do feel supported, that you can help people. And it's more like, I see sales as extending a hand. Like we said earlier, before we started recording this video, we were talking about these emails that Anya was saying she's now no longer afraid to send. It's more like extending a hand and saying, hey, you know what, I got you, and if you want it, like, here it is. Right. Yeah. It's beautiful. No, thanks so much for sharing this. So one last question I would like to ask you, for anyone who's sort of considering potentially working with me, would you recommend working one-on-one, or is there anything else that you would have to say about me? So shoot away.
I think that you should absolutely book with Adina right now, and I'm not being paid to say this, I promise. It's like such a transformative thing, and I'm not a transformative kind of gal. Like I don't feel like I'm ever transformed by anything. I'm always just like, yeah, go with the flow, man. Like, it's cool. Like, and so for something to have like shifted my mindset so much, like it had to have been good. I swear. If you're on the fence about like anything in your business, like whether it's starting or you're in the middle of it and you don't know how to make money and you're like just overextending yourself, Adina will fix everything.
The mechanic. Yeah. Thank you for these kind words. I'm trying not to blush. Thank you so much. No, thank you so much for talking with me today and just having this conversation so that other people can who have similar stories, who have similar fears and similar successes, can learn from this. So thank you so much. I'm very honored that, you know, I'm able to do this with you, and I'm so glad that we crossed paths. I'm so glad that we're working together. I couldn't be happy. I'm so proud of you. And yeah, this is it. This is how it works. This is what it can look like when there is coaching involved and when everything is involved. And so, yeah, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.